Well, there's been a lot of speculation regarding the chef's price target, and that has been happening already since day one in its SPAC days. And not that long ago, I made a video on where I actually see the price target being long-term. If you haven't seen that video, take a look at it up there. However, with all the different price targets that are out there, most of us, if any, probably didn't include the recent acquisition. An acquisition that is supposed to bring in another $200 million in 2 to 3 years from now. Well, that will obviously have an impact on the stock as well. And that's what we're going to talk about here on the PlantStock channel tonight. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, then obviously welcome back. As always, I would truly appreciate an early thumbs up since it does help spread the videos to a lot more people. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and if you want to keep getting more information regarding the chef, the tattooed chef, or Beyond Meat, Oatly, the Very Good Food Company, to name a few, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that magical bell button. Thank you, folks. I truly appreciate your help. Now, obviously, it's important to remember that this is only speculation. We really don't know what it's going to be in 2 to 3 years from now, the stock price. But it's still fun, it's interesting, and I actually do believe that what we're going to talk about is a pretty good possibility. But a lot of things can happen on the way, like dilution. I don't see that happening, but you never know. But I don't see it happening because they have a huge cash balance right now, and it's probably going to increase with time. Also, there are other things that could happen during this journey. One of the things that people talk about is that this company might be bought up by a larger food company. I actually don't see that happening either. It's possible, but I don't see it happening considering that Sam Galletti, the CEO, has been in the food business for over 35 years. And this is his baby, right? Why would he sell it? Because he, if anyone, must see the vision. He could see the potential. I mean, this man is going to be a very, very wealthy man long term. So I don't see him selling out, but you never know. Folks, I'm really interested to hear your opinion on this. Do you think Sam Galletti would ever sell out when it comes to his company? Let me know down in the comments. But now let's go into my magical Google Sheets document when it comes to what kind of stock price we could see by 2024. And I think that's the interesting thing here. As always, the outstanding share is about 81 million. The current stock price is 22.22 and the market cap is a good $1.8 billion, right? Now we have to take a look at the total revenues per year. And this is based on their own guidance and beyond in the end of 2020, right? And they did say that the revenue would be in 2021 around 222 million. And we know that they have revised that now, that it's probably going to be more like 230 to 240. I actually do think that we can see more than that, but that's what they stated, around 238, 240. And then they expect it to be around 300 million in 2022, probably be more than likely more there. 2023, 500 million, and 2026, they jump to $1 billion, right? But the interesting thing here then is that we don't know by the year 2024. Now, why is 2024 interesting? Well, as most of you probably know by now, they just recently acquired 2 new facilities, the New Mexico Food Distributors, Inc. and Carson Tortilla Factory, right? And what's so interesting about this is that they actually think that at full capacity, these 2 facilities are going to bring in another $200 million annually. Just them, without everything else, right? And they do expect that to happen within the next 2 to 3 years, which obviously takes us to 2024. And that is why it's interesting. And further on then, well, first of all, they did state before $500 million here, right, in revenue by 2023. And then they took a jump here, as we see, to 2026 to 1 billion. But what would then 2024 be, right? Well, 2022, 300 million, and they did jump in 1 year to 500 million, right? Well, I would say if we want to be really conservative, because we don't know what's going to happen during these years, right? But let's keep it real, just be conservative, not hyping it too much. I think it probably might even be more than 600 here, but I thought let's put up down a price of 600 million. Okay, just have something to work with here. Now we have to remember the price of $500 million for 2023 was before the acquisition of these two new facilities, right? So without that, then keeping it conservative, 600 million seemed logical to me, at least, the very least. But if we then put in the next 200 million here from these two facilities that they do expect within the next 2 to 3 years, and that will be by 2024 or during 2024, well, that's another 200 million to these 600 that we stated, right? That would be 800 millions in revenue in 2024. And that's obviously going to have an impact on the stock price. So if in 2024 that Chef actually has a revenue of about $800 million, the stock price, if we put it at a PS ratio of 1, and we know how we do this, we take the outstanding shares and divide it with the market cap, you got a price, right? And PS ratio 1, which is extremely unlikely, very, very unlikely, but just have to have something to compare with, well, the stock price would be about $10. This is not very likely. This is for companies that are not growth companies, not disruptive companies, food companies that have existed forever, basically, like Tyson Foods, for instance, that have about 0.7, 0.8, something like that, so close to 1. I could see this in the future, the Chef having a price to sales ratio of 1, but then we're talking about a whole different revenue, right? 10 to 20 years from now. And if we would keep it really low, then let's say it would be 10 billion in revenue. Well, that would make the market cap 10 billion here if it was the price of sales of 1, and it would still be around $100 to $120, right? That would be really low. I do see it actually being more closer than, at the very least, to $15-20 billion to keep it low. Then we could see it being at $200 or more and being a huge growth beast, which means, as we talked about before, dividends, folks. So probably if you just keep investing in this company, it's not financial advice. As you know, I'm not a financial advisor, but still speculation here and talking about this, that this would mean dividends, right? That you would never have to sell this stock, right? You'll just keep bringing in the money no matter what every year. But let's move on. So if we keep it a bit conservative, or very conservative, I would say, and put it at a price to sales ratio of 5, right? They're at 10 today, but 5. And why am I doing that? Well, it's actually to give something to everyone in this video, because I do know there's a lot of people out there who feel that we should be more conservative, we should take it easy, not speculate too much, not hype the stock too much. So I wanted to share this with those folks as well. And this is obviously a possibility. A price to sales of 5. Very conservative, but still pretty good, which would give it a market cap of 4 billion and about $50 in a stock, 49.32. And that's not half bad, is it? I mean, it's 22 today. It might go down to 20 again or lower. Who knows in the next couple of months. We know it's a huge short on this stock. I mean, then you'll basically, at the very least, be more than doubling the stock. And how many companies can you say that you could double your stock price, what you put in, within 2 to 3 years, right? In such a secure way. And one of the reasons I wanted to have this to more like this is that there are a couple of people right now, as of late, who have been saying that I've been pumping the stock, which is funny. I think it's funny that you say to a person that has a YouTube channel that right now merely has 2.3K in subscribers, 2,300 subscribers. So yeah, what a long reach I have out there in the YouTube universe, right? That I could impact people that way. And not knowing me at all then, right? Because I would never want to pump a stock because I'm long-term, right? So I want the stock price to be low as long as possible so I can keep investing at great prices. So it wouldn't make sense. And even more interesting is that other companies or other stocks that I cover on the channel, people also there every now and then say that I'm pumping the stock illegally, whatever that means. And that's even more funny because several of the companies I actually cover on the channel, I'm not even invested in them, not as of yet anyways. So why would I want to pump them then, right? It wouldn't make sense. Yep, but let's move on. So then we move on to something I do see as very possible, and that would be a price to sales ratio of 10, right? And that's basically where they're at today. And they have been there off and on quite often. And that's I think that's it's still quite conservative to some extent, because this is a disruptive growth beast. It's going to be that, no doubt. So price to sales, 10, good. Beyond Meat is around 2022. Tesla, usually around 2022. So this is not uncommon at all. And then the market cap would be 8 billion, right? And almost $100. So in 2.5 to 3 years, you would 4 to 5x your money from where it's at now, right? And that's really good. But then we get into the really juicy part here, which is very bullish. It's the PE ratio of 20. I think it is not impossible. It really isn't within 3 years, because again, Beyond Meat is around 2022, but might be a little more unlikely. I think it's possible long term, but unlikely maybe in 2 to 3 years. But again, not impossible, because given that how popular plant-based food is going to get in the next couple of years, already starting now, it's going to give this company a lot more attention, right? It's going to be more interesting, not only for people buying the food, but actually people investing. And as we talked about, when it comes to getting more attention and actually getting Wall Street to wake up, and we talked about that in this video here, if you haven't seen it yet, about the Russell 3000, making it a lot more possible that people on Wall Street and other investors out there actually notice this company. So getting more attention will obviously mean more people investing, and overall getting more attention as a brand will mean that a lot more people will buy this, given that the popularity of plant-based eating is going to grow ever more. And if that happens within the next 2.5 to 3 years, we will see a stock price of about $200, right? Market cap 16 billion. Again, I don't see that as impossible. Maybe it could be something in between with a PE ratio of 15. Incredible anyways then, right? About $150. But $200, that basically almost 10x your money from now. So obviously, I do believe you'll be 10xing your money long term anyhow. Could it happen within 2 to 3 years? I think it could happen. Like I said before, don't forget, the brand is going to get more noticeable, and we know they're already making moves to be able to expand internationally, eventually to Europe, who knows, to Asia, which is getting popular already there. We know that Beyond Meat is in China right now. So I do think that we can see this. And we talked about South America before with the whole new acquisitions, right? They're going into more Mexican and Latino inspired food, which means that they have all of South America, which is a huge market when it comes to these kind of products. Folks, let me know down in the comments, where do you see this stock in 2 to 3 years? I'm really interested to hear your opinion. Now, granted, for the skeptics out there, some of you might be thinking like, well, why should it have about 800 million here in 2024, right? Even if it would get 600 and then add under 200 million from the acquisitions, maybe the company already figured that in, right? They maybe already had that in, that they would acquire companies with time, and that's why they put it around 500 here, and then later 1 billion, as we know, down here in 2026. And obviously, that could be a possibility, but I don't see that as very likely. I see it as a possibility that they could grow from 500 here, from 500 to 800. Why would that be impossible? We see it with a lot of different plant-based companies out there that are really popular, like Oatly. It actually went from, what was it, around 150 to 200 million dollars in 2019 to over 400 in 2020. And we've seen the same kind of things with Beyond Meat. We've seen the same things with the Very Good Food Company. And Oatly is actually expecting to double once more now this year, from 400 to 800 million. So why couldn't this happen with a great company like the Tattoo Chef? I definitely see that that's within the realm of possibility. Actually, very possible. So also let me know down in the comments if you agree with me. All right, folks, I truly hope you found a lot of value in today's video. And if you did, please make sure to smash that like button and help me out. And if you want to keep getting more information regarding the chef or other plant-based companies like Beyond Meat, Oatly, the very good food company, to name a few. Make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. Thank you, folks. As always, I really appreciate your help. And don't forget, this was not financial advice. These were just my own thoughts and opinions. It's important to do your own due diligence and invest safe. I really hope you're going to have a wonderful Saturday. It's beautiful weather here in Sweden, and I hope it is wherever you are. And whatever happens, don't forget to peace out.